Thank you for inviting us to present our work here. So this is joint work with Daniel, who's in Toulouse, and Shaheen, who is at the Lahore School of Economics. So the motivation for this paper comes from the fact that prosociality, which is the behavior that benefits others or society as a whole, expects a wide range of outcomes, from public goods provision, management of the commons, public service delivery, contract enforcement, etc. But this gives rise to two key policy questions. Can prosociality be cultivated, especially amongst policymakers? And if so, can it impact policymaking? To answer this, we conduct a field experiment with deputy ministers in Pakistan. These are high-stakes decision makers who advise the President of Pakistan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, her cabinet ministers. Cultivate prosociality, we conduct intensive trainings, and our trainings vary according to different schools of thought. In our first treatment group, the ministers are randomly assigned to a training which is inspired by Peter Singer's effective altruism. In the training, we emphasize the benefits or utility of empathy. We horse race this with the psychological school of thought associated with Carol Dweck, the malleability of self school of thought, which argues that prosociality can be cultivated by emphasizing the malleability or a growth of the self. What we find is that training ministers in the utility of empathy has large and persistent effects, both on pro-social behavior in the field, for example, blood donations, but also on policy, for example, on funding requests which these policymakers recommend to the finance ministry. What we find here is that blood donations about doubles for the ministers which were trained in the benefits of empathy. However, there is interesting heterogeneity hiding behind these results. So within our randomization strata, we also randomized transcripts of the phone calls which were made to the deputy ministers requesting blood. Working with a prominent blood group in Lahore, what we did was we wrote the transcripts of the volunteers which the blood group sent out to the ministers. In the first group, we used the generic request, which was the status quo used by the blood group, where an urgent, truthful request to donate blood was made. And what we find is that there is no effect case where the group assigned to the benefits of empathy training is not statistically significantly likely to donate blood more. However, when we use the matching blood type, where the blood donation, when we randomly assign the transcript which matches the blood type of the deputy minister, we find that blood donations more than triple for our utilitarian group. What this suggests is that deputy ministers are only willing to donate blood if they believe that their blood will be effectively utilized, which is consistent with effective altruism. We also find impact on language use on social media, the use of we versus I doubles, the use of us versus them more than doubles, and we even see an effect on policy 12 months after our training, where we find that ministers who were trained in the benefits of empathy are more likely to send letters to the finance minister requesting funding for social programs, and also they are more likely to request larger funds than our placebo group. So in conclusion, I want to bring your attention to this famous argument made by Adam Smith to cultivate prosociality, where he argued that it is not from the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer, or the baker that we expect our dinner, but from their regard to their own self-interest. We address ourselves not to their humanity, but to their self-love, and never talk to them of our own necessities, but of their advantages. This is precisely what we did in our utilitarian treatment, emphasizing the benefits of empathy. We never talk to them about their humanity, but about their self-love, that being empathetic is actually good for them in their career and in their personal life. What we talk to them about is that since human beings are social animals and we have evolved to reciprocate, being empathetic is in your own private self-interest. So being empathetic is not just the right thing to do, but it is also the most sensible thing to do. Thank you very much.